Why did it do this? I'm live, but it's supposed to. Okay, so apparently it went straight into going live without going through the other thing. So I may have effed up on this one. Can I get that to go? So we're not. If I stop the stream, it will end the whole thing. Oh. Hey, looks like we're just
Hi.
it just moved me right into live, so there's no backstage. Yeah. So I don't know what happened. So, anyways,
I didn't know how to looked at it just
okay.
on a phone.
Yeah. So this is only I think the third time I've used it. So, anyways, how you doing, Jeff? And so if you're just joining in and everything, this is the second session of the Coloring the Tarot on the 999 show. And today we are doing the Strength card. And this here is Tarot Ask Backwards. And Tarot Ask Backwards is coming to us live from Massachusetts.
This is
Right?
correct.
Yeah, I got the right state. Yeah. And so what'll happen here is I'll turn the camera down facing the table, and Jeff here will direct my hand from afar like telekinesis. He'll influence me to pick whatever color he thinks that this strength card should be. And so it doesn't have to look like any strength card that because this is his card and he can do it any way he wants. And so I have a color pencil set with a bunch of pencils. And so let's get crack-a-lackin'. And anyway, then I'll be asking you a bunch of questions along the way. But first, we'll talk about just tell everybody about yourself and your channel and so forth.
Those that don't know, my name is endearingly go by the name Tarot Ask Backwards on my channel. You can find me on Ask Back. I ORDS. It's all one word, no spaces, but it may be. I've been doing this over a year in earnest. You are going to find a bevy of different things that I like to explore. Readings about animals, readings about politics, readings about death. I am a poet. I have 2 books. I have a third that is currently in printing that I hope to have out by this spring. And let's see.
Okay, so you've been doing your channel full time for about a year. Is that what you say?
Yeah, I would say to a great degree, a little bit over a year now. Let's see. More like year and 6 months, I want to say.
So, wow. So you went up from 0 to almost 4,000 in in a year and 6 months, that fast. And where I've been doing this thing for over 2 years, and I've just barely ground out 900 subs.
Well, the thing about both of us that I think is a commonality between our channels is it's very niche oriented, because even if the content we're doing is varied, that right there is niche oriented, because you and I have both such diverse interests in a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I think that comes through in what we discuss. So that can either be a hindrance or it can be helpful depending upon the person. And I think the YouTube channel should be more like that. I just think that there should be, because I don't think we're all one thing. And within the tarot community, especially, I find that that's something high essence of the moon, something that's happening that needs to happen more. Where
Yeah.
we're, especially because that gives our palettes a greater ability on which to draw as far as content goes.
And welcome, Essence of the Moon, for the second time today. Thank you for coming. And so, what do you think? Let's just kind of start out by, I have, let me just look through the palette of colors here, Jeff. And so
Okay.
you can think about where you want to start first, like with maybe the sky, you want to start with the lion. And so these are, some of the colors are out on the table already because I haven't put them away. Get Good, welcome. And so we're doing coloring, and my guess will be choosing the colors that we are going to start out with. So if you look at this here is the Universal Weight Tarot, and so you don't have to do it like this. So what's your question for both of us, Get Good? And then while
I Get Good. I'm a little hesitant because I don't know you, Get Good, but
so
whatever it is.
let's see what kind of, we're not doing any readings here at all. So we're just doing this. And so what color do you think the sky should be, Jeff?
For some reason, I'm being called to purple.
Calling to purple? Okay, a purple sky?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that song?
Yes.
Yeah, Purple Rain. Okay. What shade of purple do you want? So we have a darker here, and then we have some of these other ones in here. And then I can come in and then come in over here.
A lighter shade.
Like this one here?
Mm-hmm. That one right there that you're pulling.
Okay. Now I might actually so I don't know why oranges are called oranges in an apple, because I know a Get Good that there's a guy who broadcasts out of, what was his name? I was really enamored with his short videos. Oh man, I can't think of the guy's name. And he was doing shorts, and he did, like thoughts, why this and that, and he asked those types of questions and did comedy readings. I'm going to pull out a couple more shades here, Jeff, just so we can layer in some colors in there, and maybe one of these lighter colors as well. And welcome, Corey. Oh man, now I'm like, oh. Now I'm like really
Hi, Hershey.
Yeah, hi Hershey, and welcome. And I heard that you were off in the Sunshine State right now, and so is it like sunshine out there? So we're gonna just kind of just put this color in on the side. Use the flat of the pencil, so you don't get any hard lines. And so you've been doing the channel for a little over a year, kind of full time, and as full time as possible. And
yeah, it's addictive. I mean, I used to listen to my guides when to come, but now I can pretty much come on at any point and I'll have a download pretty quickly right before I get on, either through the title of a show or through something in meditation that
I
will
see.
lead to something, that I can bring. So
I
it's
see.
really gratifying in that regard as an artist.
So it's kind of like, so when you say downloads, what does exactly does that mean? Because when I think of like
To me,
downloads,
a download isn't necessarily a vision prediction. It's like it's an idea that can be the spark for something creative.
I see.
It can be it can be a word, it can be a phrase, it can be like if you get in meditation a vision of something that, like, say for instance, you have a halo, you see a halo that is like a camera that is being put on people's windows, as I did today, which I saw in meditation. That
Mhm.
made me think of like the theocratic state that could be coming. So then I get an idea about, well, maybe I'll use that for the title of a show, like Halo Fixture, Halo Window Fixture, or something. And I'll either discuss what it was, and then I'll try to read on what it was I saw or what I think it means. Like I might have seen a black hole behind it or something.
Yeah.
So it can be a word, it can be a vision of something, it can be something that actually points me in the right. Um, I just had an idea for. It's weird. I was walking up here and I had an idea for a poem called "Nobody's Sacrifice" that I. Well, sometimes the words of something will spark a whole lot more. More
Hmm.
like, because that was the way my first book was. I liked playing with words. I liked the way certain words look together and sound together.
Yeah.
Um, I don't always go for a rhyme, or sometimes in some situations, Bill, something you wouldn't think rhymes, just rhythmically the way it flows, it kind of
Yeah.
does rhyme. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I know exactly what you mean because it was that poem that I have in that my book called "Poem Unknowingly Read Before a Ladies' Prayer Group at an Open Mic," but the poem itself, I got the lines right out of off of Twitter when Twitter was good, like in 2009,
I live so much
2010,
better.
when before social media got corrupted by the dark side, before the empire, before
Mhm.
be, be, what was that line with Obi-Wan Kenobi when he was talking to Luke Skywalker out? It was just like that's why I was visioning this live. Oh yes, before the dark times. And because like for instance, it being that it's in social media, it feels like it's such a dark time. And like yesterday, I deactivated my Facebook account, and so
Did you? Yeah.
I deactivated, but then I was like, it's not a full deactivation because I was downloading pictures, and then there was this one picture that I thought that I downloaded, but it wasn't there, and it was when Pee Wee Dog was a puppy. And I was looking through my pictures. Oh crap! That means I have to go back into Facebook and get it again. So which means I'll just like wait a couple weeks and then I'll go back in and reactivate it, and then because I'm thinking that I'm just gonna do a permanent deactivation of that. Simply, it's not really. I mean, for me, it's more I just don't like the giving the opportunity to be mind controlled because I'm not really going. I'm not talking politics on this show, but and I don't not really want to say that, but I'm saying that everybody is susceptible to mind control through propaganda.
Mhm.
And so there's nobody is immune to this because have we all have like the similar brain types and everything. And so um, you know, but anyways, nevertheless, the poem, I'm not going to read the poem because of how many F words are in it and so forth. And and I don't really, and so I'm,
Hi,
and
Fatima.
welcome Fatima. So get good. You're well, you're picturing a big starry night in the background, a beautiful night with no birds and just the wind blowing across the face at the bottom. Well, that's nice picturing here. And I'm kind of liking the sky, how these the color that you've chosen, and so Jeff, that I can go in here. Well, I have roughly till about 5:30 my time, and then I have to get started making dinner for everybody. And
What time does Pee Wee eat?
she eats when the light is just right in the sky.
Ah, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's so weird sometimes. It's like we would be. I'm trying to push dinner earlier and earlier, and then the dog. Hi, Hang, welcome. And 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 then the dog is just sitting on the couch, and we're eating and eating and eating, and then the dog will get up on the couch and look out the window. And then when the lighting gets to this right place, the the dog will think, "Oh, now it's time to eat," and it's just she's such a funny
That's
dog.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, okay, well, what's going to happen when summertime comes around and gets dark it gets dark, at 9 o'clock, and I think I'm not holding dinner till having dinner at 9 o'clock. I mean, I could. I mean, it happens, but then the dog is dictating to me that we need to have dinner when it's dark. Tapestry of the Unseen, welcome.
Hi, Tapestry.
So, what does the strength card mean to you?
Um, well, I think the biggest pitfall with it is to think of physical strength. At least I do. At first, for me, that's the biggest pitfall of it because so much of what comes from inside is manifested in physical strength. I think that's how people seem to somehow create it or think of it as the best sort of wisdom with that card, taking care of your body. To me, that's I guess strength in the physical sense, but unfortunately the way I view it is a test of mental fortitude. um, in some cases a masochistic sort of thing where your durability and your longevity I think of as strength.
Mm-hmm.
um, I think of sometimes adversity that you may have created for yourself, yet um, you willingly embrace it, and that's strength to me. Not choosing the path of least resistance. But when I see it reversed, I almost see it as a manipulation instead of weakness. I almost see it as having to prey on others' strength to fortify your own in a way,
Yeah.
um, as opposed to which is the weakness.
Mm.
Um, I think of fear maybe is the opposite of strength too, in some
Yeah.
cases. I think one of the interesting things about certain cards is some of the cards you can flip and they can have the same meaning, or you can get tricked into thinking that maybe, or not tricked. You might think like the sun, for instance. Either way, it's good.
Yeah.
Um, but with this, the same thing with the strength card, and it's funny because they're both Leo, Leo centric or whatever. I think even if it's reversed, Bill, it still
Yeah.
can have a positive connotation to it. So that is to me an interesting card because I know a lot of the cards to the cards around it, but that one in particular, and that in the sun, and I can think of a couple others
Yeah.
um, where the meanings tipped can be almost the same as upright.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. You have that of inner strength, and then but maybe that is also dictated in that there is a inner strength or a lack of fear because you have this woman who is with this lion, and this lion could eat the woman at any time, or the person, but then the 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 lack of fear, and then not showing that fear, then the animal just brings out that love relationship between the people, because the smelling of the fear brings out, would bring out the aggression of the predator. And this woman is um is showing great strength in controlling emotions, in emotional control in a situation.
Hmm. Yeah, she's you want to not an empress maternal, but for some reason maybe more of a Hausfrau
Yeah,
um, mother, and to me maybe it would be the more unexpectedly strong mother figure, as
yeah.
opposed to the empress. You might be
Hmm.
less suspecting of her because she's
Yeah,
a little more subtle, I guess. I don't know, or a little, even though even though she's grabbing, and that's not subtle, a lion. To
yeah.
me, she's more subtle. Yeah.
Well, you have the hand down here, which is more of a stroking and so forth. But then there's other hand that's like controlling. That's like that hand on, because you've had dogs, and you have that kind of a pose, maybe hand on top of
Mhm.
the head and everything. And larger dogs, I mean, with the smaller dogs, not so much, but um, with smaller dogs, there's a tendency to want to treat that dog like a cat, and you know,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, you know, holding the head like this, and then of course the dog's very uncomfortable, but then allows you to do that for a while. And so, yeah. So, what do you think about the sky? Does it need any other colors? Maybe any some reds in there, or reddish tones, just to add to the
I'm thinking of almost like a burgundy color.
a burgundy. Okay.
If you
So
have, yeah.
no, this is a huge set. So my sister gave this to me for Christmas, and so, like, this color, what is that? That's a real dark purple. You want to see it? Okay.
Yeah, let me see.
Can you
Yeah.
can you see it up there?
Yep, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. All right. Welcome, Mama Sushi. Becoming. Yeah, I like those words.
Well,
Becoming, because that's where I ran astray with Christianity a long time ago. Was using words like becoming. And whereas my pastor started with thinking, Bill, you really have a Gnostic interpretation of everything here. And so, whereas where I was like thinking of, where I was so well struggling with, was to become Orthodox, and I wasn't. And because of that sense of becoming and everything else, it was very difficult to enter into that, to do the Joseph Campbell thing and enter into the experience of a particular mythological structure. And so I was not able to do it, and so I wasn't able to become an Orthodox Christian, and Orthodox in a sense of following the doctrines and the teachings as was prescribed by the church. And that's into answering, looking at um, Hai Hang there, who talked about becoming, and he mentioned that word. Anyways, and so, yeah, so we got these colors, and so then so how is it that you got into tarot, Jeff?
I 2018, I was working as a fundraiser for a company called Integral Resources, and um, very much into having to keep up with political articles and reading things like The Hill and other things daily.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, then what ended up happening was I was intrigued by the idea of political tarot reads online. So then I started watching those on YouTube through. The first one was Truth Warrior Tarot, who's a little bit in a different. You should look at her channel if you haven't. But that was what got me into it. And then I would watch like Scott Spiritual Essence, who got me into um, Lilac Lantern and Denise Knight Divination, and so on. And at that point, I was assimilating everything that I was seeing as far as, and I had taken some of the not the courses, but the membership level courses that you can get when you're a member.
Yeah.
And I started to commit a lot of those things to memory. And then viscerally, when I started reading, they helped because it didn't shape exactly how I read, but it gave me the framework and the springboard to go from.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, going back into it, I always thought I could never read a personal reading. I always thought I read political, and I was getting tired of the political reads. People weren't liking the political reads as much as when I did the personal ones. And the actual truth of the matter is, I seem to
Mm-hmm.
jive better with the personal reads than I do with the political. But the things that
Well,
I watch
yeah.
the things I watch most of are political reads. Still,
Yeah, I
yeah.
see. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, when I am relaxing with YouTube, I'm watching people play slot machines.
Are you really? Yeah.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm doing that, or I'm watching people.
Do you watch
Uh.
anyone game, Bill? Like anyone playing a video game or
Oh, I
gaming?
don't. No, I don't.
No.
I don't watch people play video games, but actually, I don't really play video games myself. I mean, I have a chess master game that I play with, but I don't really. The games I play are they're really more simple. I don't do the whole RPGs or the shoot games. I played Doom back in the 90s. You remember that one?
I do remember Doom. It was so popular.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was the last time I really played those. You can't get the control out of your head, Mama Sushi, and the manipulating eye. Yeah, yeah. Well, but it's like okay, I don't know, but it's so. I'll play these. I play nothing but slot machine apps on my phone, and so it's like I'm an ex-smoker, and it's like I can't really watch a movie without doing something with my hands. And so
Mhm.
oftentimes I'll have on my phone and on the tablet, I'll have different slot machine apps going at the same time while I'm watching somebody pop pimples on the YouTube,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's go move on to you want to do the lion next, and because I think the sky is about done. I might do a few more layers on the sky, but
For some reason, with the lion, I'm thinking like of black for the mane and red somehow for
so
the body.
okay, black and red. So maybe let's see here. So maybe like a charcoal color. I have like this is black, but maybe something that's a little bit grayer. How about maybe like this one here? Let me just show you. It's not full black, so it's more like graphite.
Yeah, I
And
like that.
whereas
Yeah.
if we do this, which is still about the same, but that's as black as it
I like the
gets,
first one better.
like this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll take a couple of these out, and some of these have some greens in them, and I'll layer those colors in there like that. So yeah. So that whole okay, there we go. And that's going into the main. And you said the body like red? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay. So you got into the tarot and you were starting with political reads, but then you started doing personal reads. Yeah.
When I got when I had a certain following on my channel, and Fatima was always the one that would come in probably first in the mornings, and actually she was one of my first followers I think ever.
Hmm.
I really um, I don't know how I met Fatima other than through my channel, to be honest with you. I know I
Yeah.
met her, I think, through Terry Renner's chats in the morning, her meditations. But then something happened where I somehow got into personal reads and they clicked. And I think it was actually probably on a channel that you and I both know quite well, where there was one or two episodes where I was doing my poetry, and then it went to one night where we started doing personal reads based on the poetry or the poetry prayer that I would give, or the diagnosis through the poetry that I would do. If you remember those shows.
Yeah.
And I started to find out I had some resonance with political reading, with personal reads that I didn't realize. So then I started
Hmm.
to do them on my channel, and
Yeah.
they've been pretty successful. Sometimes I don't know where I'm picking up stuff from if I hit on anything.
Yeah.
I did a read for someone the other night, and I saw bow and arrow and archery, and someone told me that they actually think that they've been wanting to study archery for a long time.
Hmm.
So, or you get hits with weird things. It's strange, Bill. I really do believe that the more we use the gift, the more it becomes stronger.
Yeah. Well, that's just like anything else, I mean, the more practice you have with things, you I like I have this ability to be kind of intuitive with almost everything. So like I'm making when I was bartending, I'd making cocktails, and then I would kind of intuitively know that maybe I should use this other flavor with it instead of what I was doing. And so you get the knowledge gets in there. You get this knowledge that's in there, and then from there, your intuition, which is your deep, your the way your brain is functioning, it starts to intuit. It starts to create. So it's becoming more creative, and you're creating out your because your basic gift is one of creativity, and from the creativity, you are uh, you're being able to manipulate what you know. So the thing that you do know is in which it doesn't matter what it is, if it's like mathematics, or if it's like you're you know you start with some basic knowledge, or you're putting words together, so it's becoming more like you're writing a story or something like that. And
Mhm.
it's the same skill, it's the same thing that's going on. And so like when I when I was like I haven't really written a novel, but I started writing one several years ago. But prior to that, everyone said you had to have an outline first. And
Oh, I
for
hate
the,
that.
and for the life of me, I couldn't do it. But what happened is that one day I just started writing, and it was like I write stream of consciousness. That's how I write. And so so the whole, I think with intuition, I think it's something, I think that's where I'm thinking is that it comes right out of your own basic, your creativity and your ability to take the elements that are given to you and then reorganize them into a different way. So like, for instance, in college, when my physics teachers, when I left the physics program, they were very, very disappointed because they said I'd never seen anybody who was as creative as you were, and how you put stuff together in your head is not something. And so I would have liked to have seen where you would have gone as a physicist, and because there was that intuitiveness, but there was also that just your intuitiveness bypasses it bypasses your it bypasses thinking, and you go straight in to a deeper level of thinking. And
Mhm.
that's kind of how I see. So that's kind of how I see what intuition is. So maybe it's coming from the super consciousness, or maybe it's just coming from your own damn unconscious mind. I'm not sure. Or it's just coming from deeper levels of your head. And so, I mean, I don't know if that makes any sense, but
No,
it's
it
just
does because it's as I said before, you're harnessing an ability you have to understand structurally how the world around you works, because that's what that's about. And then that intuition to be creative and kind of practical at the same time. Develop an idea, create systems around which you can adapt your own ideas to the laws of physics. I can
yeah,
understand that.
yeah. So you get the tapestry of the unseen. You get some deposits when you're reading. So you get like deposits of knowledge or deposits of information that are coming through. Hmm. So yeah, I kind of still think it all is coming from the self, which is probably where, if I were to say why I kind of why I doubt people's ability to make greater predictions about the world, simply because I don't know that we can really see too far beyond. I know that's just my experience, and you have a different experience than I do. And but it's that whole sense of, if I'm going to talk a little bit about the book of Revelations or
Awesome.
Revelation this Sunday, but in thinking about it, because I personally don't think that book has anything to do with I think it has everything to do with how an individual experiences their spiritual journey. So you're starting out, and then you go through a dark night of the soul, and then it goes through. You have your own dragons and your own demons that you battle, and then your own woundedness, and then at the end there's a resurrection. And so it's essentially the fool's journey in tarot is essentially that same journey. If you're looking at the tarot as a spiritual guide, a tool to get you from to guide in your spiritual life, or the way that Arthur Waite would have seen it, because I don't think Arthur Waite was a diviner. I don't think he divined. From the stuff that I've read about him, he was just a straight up mystic, and mostly he was just a Catholic, and though most most people who are like Christian wouldn't recognize his Christianity because of his occult, the occult uh, 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 societies and everything that he had been belonged to and wrote for. But that's what I'm saying is that it's all about. But then there's another layer that it may pertain only to, because if the Bible is all about how to for a spiritual mystic journey on how to have greater connectiveness. Is that my mic that's making all that noise, or is it?
I hope it's not mine.
Then it must be mine. I'm going to unplug this thing.
Well, wishing it won't make it so. If it is I, that's that mic. But it might be mine.
Okay, I unplugged it and I'm not getting it. I think it just was me rubbing against there, so I'm off of it. But then, so it may have. I still hear that sound, so I think it is coming from your end. And so have a individual journey, and so it's these religious paths are all about the finger that points to union, and but the very aspect of religion, but the extra part of this gets stuck in the finger. And so I think that in some people have interpreted talking about how the world ended, and that it's memory from how that world ended when an asteroid, a big rock, came down and smashed into the Great. There was a rapid melt off of the sheet, and it caused the world to. And I got an echo. So shoot.
What I like about the coloring is you brought out the smile in her face without even touching her face yet, and you brought out the sort of ferocity and a smile at the same time in the lion.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't even touched them yet.
Yeah, I'm hoping that because I got an echo here. So do you hear the echo? Is that just?
I don't hear an echo. It just kind of sounds like we're on a phone, like we're talking on.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It doesn't sound crystal clear. Kind of sounds slightly muffled, and at times it fades in and out.
Okay, let's try this again. Oh, I'm here. Okay. Yeah. So it is my connection is bad. So you hear echo out there too? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I wonder if we restart this whole.
Going out and coming back in. Hold on.
Okay. Is the echo gone? Is can you hear the echo? Is that Spirit is trying to communicate through? So the echo still exists. Okay. I'm gonna send that in link back if we can do that. So the echo is gone. No echo. Okay, so the echo came from. Hopefully, we can get Jeff back here. All right. Well, we'll just continue to no echo. Okay. All right. Oh, let's see if I can send this through. Okay, there it is. All right. So how is that?
Live sound is the echo back because I see no echo when I was out.
Yeah. So I think it's fine for now.
Okay.
Okay. So we got to get moving on here. And all right. So far, this conversation has been very illuminating, Jeff. And yeah. So anyway, so if you look at it as being everything, if you look at everything in the Bible as being not everything, just some things like the Gospels, and so there has been, it was let's see, let's go to her dress. What color is her? Oh, that's right. I need to finish the lion's head was kind of red.
Yeah.
And if I were to offer a suggestion here, I would, and I'm just going to just throw it out there, is if her skin is like light blue, like a Hindu god.
That's where I was going to go next. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right.
It wouldn't clash with the background.
Yeah.
Actually would make it more dimensional. So I would do it.
Yeah. All right. So where was that other? Oh, here's that other red that I was dealing out of. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so we have this journey that we're on, and so I haven't really read the Book of Revelations for a long time because I just completely dismissed it. I dismissed it as something that either already happened in time, or it was completely, it didn't matter to my spiritual journey at all. And I think that's probably why church fathers through time have thought that it should, that it was in and out of the canon multiple times, because it's kind of weird. And the other thing, and the reason why is how fear-based it is when you read it from a exterior viewpoint. And the Bible is very explicit in its directions about do not be afraid.
Mm.
And then you have this, but then I know why the church kept it is because institutions control through fear. You scare people to death with, oh, you're going to go to hell, and or this or that, and so if you don't do what you're told, well, you're going to go to hell, and so forth. And so,
Too, I think that almost everything. So I don't know if I'm dismissed. I see the some of the stuff that's in renders it illegitimate on some level, but I do feel that there is something to prophecy. I don't know why. And I think if we read the Bible more, by which to live, we might be better. Just treating it as like a novel or something.
Which is why it's disturbing me that I can't find my Catholic Bible, because it has all my notes in it. And I have lots of Bibles, but it's like I can't remember where I put it. And it was like 12 years ago that I put it someplace. When I moved from Seattle back to down here where I live in Oregon, it got put away. Maybe it's in one of those boxes in the garage, which I hope I didn't do that. But I found all kinds of stuff on those boxes out in the garage, and you know, they're in boxes where the mice can't get to them, uh, so that it really kind of bothers me, and so it's not like I'm going to go pick up a King James Bible, because I don't like the translation, and I don't like the association with evangelical Christianity, and if I were to say that I have some prejudice, I do have prejudice, and it's against evangelicals and fundamentalism. It's not necessarily evangelical; it's just fundamentalism in general, and whether it be
Evangelical actually really want to hasten. They want to bring it on.
well, they do, but it's just like the evangelical ideology is so new. It's just so new, and then it's like, and then there's the whole, how many times has somebody predicted the end and it never came? And so it's just like, I mean, I've, yeah, and it's so yeah, there's going to be an end of a civilization. I mean, those happen all the time. And if you just look at the last century, I mean, you saw the rise and fall of the Soviet Union, and that was a whole civilization that rose and it fell in less than like 80 years. But of course, another country had a hell of a lot of influence on on influencing its fall through massive amounts of military spending and everything else. And like I said, I didn't really want to do politics on the show, but I do like history. I am I've missed, which when you're like having a discussion with somebody, which is really frustrating, to talk to somebody who's actually never studied any history at all, or they felt, even if they're in your own same age group, that they should have, because I had civics in high school. I had and I yeah, or like the structure of government. Of course, I was in high school and taking youth legislators. Well, there was a girl involved in it, and I joined that club because of a girl that I was highly attracted to, and then we went to the state of Oregon, and we spent like a week. It was a week-long camp, and they put us on committees, and they showed us how government worked. And so we got to be either pretend to be senators and stuff like that, and it was great. I don't know if they still do that kind of stuff, but welcome, Cosmic, welcome. Yeah, and so anyways, it's having knowledge of history, and it helps to put things in perspective. And then I go into this added layers because I have a knowledge of church history, and and so you can go back into time. So I'll just kind of go off and talk a little bit about some annoying memorial services that I went to this year, and there was two of them, and one was for my cousin, my mom's first cousin, and his son. They got ran over by a car at the same time, and they got killed. And he was 40 something, and my cousin, my mom's birthday was 82. And
That's off.
and so that happened like at the end of July, August kind of thing. But you know what's kind of interesting about this is, just as a side note, is I'm not really going to go and show their pictures or anything, is that his son was adopted and they looked alike.
Ah,
They and we looked at his pictures and they looked like, I'm not going to pull them out because it's not, they, I don't have permission to do that, and I'm not going to do that. But nevertheless, we in their in they had it in this big evangelical church in on the east side of Portland, and they had an altar call right in the middle of the church, in the middle of it, towards the end of the of the memorial service. And I'm thinking, well, that's was tacky as hell. And then the very next day, I go to another memorial service at another for one of my classmates who passed on, and then they had this thing going on, and this is the second time I've gone to in where they, oh well, so and so, well, thankfully he got saved 2 weeks ago, and now he's in heaven. Now he's in heaven. He got saved, and now he's in heaven. And I went to one at the tribe for somebody down at the because I live near an Indian reservation, and I went and there's people I know, and I have people who in my family who are tribal, or they're not tribal in that tribe, but they are tribal, and I went one down at more, and then it was the same thing. It was like, well, thankfully his family had been working on him for 40 years to get him to become a Christian, and then he was saved 2 weeks ago, and now he's dead and he's in heaven. He can enjoy the fruits of heaven. And then I was like thinking, God, that's but it was even worse. They said in the 1800s and so forth, and this is, I learned in church history, was they would have these funeral services. They had no idea. All they knew is that the guy never went to church, and they would have their sermons about it. You better not be like Joe here. He never went to church, and he's in hell right now, rotting in hell. But it's like, well, yeah, he was a good person, but he's in hell now. He didn't get saved. He didn't have that personal relationship with Jesus and all that stuff. And right, but that was like, was in church history, and that's in American church history. You never see that. That didn't happen in the Catholic faith. It never happened. It never happened in the Orthodox, because they baptize when they have that infant baptism thing. Well, that was the point of where the journey began into your initiation. But now that was the basic thing for salvation, and then after that, it's all well, they're in purgatory now and they're working it off, but they will someday be going to heaven. Because I know
that's far-fetched.
No, you're a Catholic, and because you said you were born into the Catholic faith. What about these mountains over here? Do you want them to be like a yellow sandy color or something?
Yeah, I'm looking, like what I like about the blue with her face is, she could be flushed with fear, but the smile really comes out. So in the back, I'm thinking like brownish or yellowish, or almost like,
yeah,
I'll go with the color. Actually, your color idea is better
for the mountains. I'm not talking about the mountains back here.
Mountains. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it's good to have this. I didn't mean to like go out and upset anybody who might be part of those faith paths, but nevertheless, that's
No,
just that's the history of it. Is the history of it, and there is that history, and most people don't know they don't know church history, and they don't know what came before, and and I guess that's the thing that also attracted me to be um
well, there are
yeah.
evangelicals that think we walked with the dinosaurs too.
Well, yeah,
You
there are,
know.
and I'm sure there were Catholics as well too. I mean, it's not just
Yeah.
we're not really singling out. You're singling out a type of faith path which is fundamentalism, because fundamentalism exists in every single religion on the face of this earth. It exists in every single one of them, and there isn't, from Buddhism to Hinduism, every single one, because it's a human tendency to. I know there's no mountain back here, but I'm going to put one in here. And there's a tendency, because of fear, to want to have this magic language, and our fear um, makes it so that we, that's why I think fundamentalism comes straight out of fear. But then there's also the fact that there's so many people who don't really have time to think about anything, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and so you just want something easy. You're going to hedge your bets with something easy. So you take like the founding fathers, who, like Thomas Jefferson, I'm sure would have been an atheist in today's world. They chose the Unitarian Universalist, and which had that had the minimum amount of you know yeah. So anyways, it's like you have so if you're a troll out there and you want a chance for some transformation, you can kind of just hang out. But you know, anyways, so you have fear-based religions, but then a lot of what was I saying? I was talking about Thomas Jefferson, because see, Thomas Jefferson went to college at Harvard, and Harvard at that time, not Harvard, Massachusetts at that time was a theocratic state, and so everybody, and my the story is that he fled Massachusetts with his life, because he, in expressing his views, which were anti-Christian. um and so that is why in the Constitution there is this emphasis on a separation of church and state, and why there's an emphasis on the freedom of religion, because Thomas Jefferson wasn't a Christian. Thomas Jefferson didn't believe in God, or the God that he believed in, it was like, oh, it was so far off in the distance.
Mm.
Off, it was like God was the spark, and then he walked away. He walked away from it, and the universe is free to do what the universe wants to do. And that was
Yeah.
his position. And so, and people in this country that don't study history, they don't know that many of these people who set this our Constitution and everything in motion here, that like Thomas Paine was an outright atheist. Thomas Paine was an atheist, but a lot of them, they had to, and Benjamin Franklin as well, but they became these Unitarian Universalists, and they had they just because they had to declare a religion in order to be kind of accepted in society. And so, and that's just the way it is. And when you are in these theocratic states, there are a huge portion of the peoples who aren't religious because and that's just the way it is, because it's religion. It's because not everybody is, because because they're on a different timeline, they're on a different path, and that path maybe is like, well, it's just not important. And so I guess when it comes back down to where do I think fundamentalism comes from, I think a lot of it comes from folks like that were who then they really they then they got the religion, or there was some catalyst that put them in there, like drug and alcohol addiction and things like that. And that was this this salvation, or this they got saved from this thing that they were struggling from with so much. This thing,
Mhm.
this thing, this substance, this thing that was causing that every time that they would use it or do it, they felt wounded, like this. I call it a psychic wound, this deep wound and woundedness, and that maybe you do it to yourself because you don't want to feel that spirit, you don't want to feel things, and so it's
Mm.
better to be wounded, and then in that sense, that's I guess I took this someplace else that I wasn't planning
Mhm.
on at all. So what about
No,
this?
but it's relevant to today
Yeah,
and the political climate, and why we're
or
at where
just
we are.
or the whole aspect of strength.
Hmm. That
So
too.
let's go to her smock or her dress or something like that, because I do need to get started. I'm probably like 15.
Um, what am I thinking here? Um, for some reason, I'm getting like a light brown or something. I don't know.
Really like a
Um,
earthy tone. Okay,
something earthy to, yeah,
like this over here.
yeah,
Maybe we
yeah.
take that,
That's it.
and maybe we take that and then we
Can I see the
layer.
other one?
Okay. And now this is a bronze.
That looks kind of like poop. I would use the first one.
Okay, so why don't we just use them all, and then
Yeah, I
we'll
mean they
add
mix
in
well together.
we'll
Yeah.
add a little red in there, and then and some green, because then um we'll layer in these colors together. So I'll just show you here. Let's just take this green, and then I take this red and I layer it down on top of it, so it has a orangey
Like that.
flavor, and then we add in that brown, and so it kind of gets a little bit more kind of a
And it's got sort of an
yeah.
earthier, sandier tone. Okay.
Hello, John.
Hi,
Welcome.
John.
So I'm going to start down here with this green, and then we'll kind of roll it on back. So um, let me see. This has been a great conversation. So I've really been liking what we got here. So let's just kind of change different. So what YouTube activity do you like or dislike? With when you
Um,
come to actually just doing the mechanical aspects of your channel, what do you like or dislike?
I like I like to channel. I hate, I really wish I could be better at it, but I hate it, is trying to choreograph stuff or create, create, not content. I mean, the intros, the outros, all those things that I should be more involved in
Mhm.
because I really think it would help the channel, but I'm not very good at it. I'm also not very good at um, the literal mechanics of trying to do a reading and letting you see all the cards. And I'm not very good at a lot of different things, but what I am very good at is spontaneity.
Yeah.
I would say that's the, and I'm also very good at, I think, reading the room.
Mhm.
I'm really good when it comes to energy exchange. I'm really
Yeah.
good at reading in a live. I'm really good at feeling the energy of when to wind things down and when to start up again.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things I'm not good at that I wish I were. One of them is, like the way someone like Ramon does the art, all the effort that it seems to take. I don't know, but it seems like that would take a lot of effort for me to.
Mhm.
But he also likes to teach too.
Yeah.
But I don't. I don't have the desire to teach. Um, I kind of wish I did. Um, I I would rather teach you what I believe
I see.
than what I
Then what
think.
you?
Well, what I think and what I believe, I'd rather pound you over the head with it. And he's probably a lot more subtle. So, and that's a hard thing to balance because, especially when you're trying to use YouTube as clickbait, and a lot of people fall into that trap, um, where titles to look a certain way to get more hits, and that's important. And I um, know that sometimes the actual titles don't live up to the hits, meaning they don't live up to what
Yeah.
they're supposed to be. And a lot of the prophecy videos, Bill, are like that, where you're like 20 minutes into it, like, why did I bother with this? Because it's either a rehash of something you've heard before on another channel, spliced with maybe one or two new things, or it's
Yeah.
just like they say this is what's coming in 2025, and it's this AI generated
Oh yeah.
narrative. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
it's nothing.
As soon as I figure out that there's any AI involvement in it, I'm gone.
You are, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I do not like. You know. I give a little bit when it comes to AI generated art, but if it's like the video is AI generated or the voice, and I know why they're doing it because their English is not their first language, but I can't handle when it's like, oh, I've heard this voice on like 10 other people's videos, and I think it's like, no, I'm not watching you. And then when I see that thing come up in my feed again, it's like, click, no more. I don't want anything. I don't want that anymore. And I'm especially that way. Like with Facebook, was before I like ended it. It was like, I don't want to see that video. It's like hide, block, 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 and it's like, okay. And so like Facebook is their reels and their Facebook, the way it used to be, was good, but when they added reels, it became a toxic environment.
Reels was where it all started to go
Yeah,
downhill.
that's where it all started to go bad. Yeah, because you see the Facebook algorithm is nothing like the YouTube algorithm, because YouTube will just kind of show you. I'm constantly battling because I want to watch these certain things, and then it kind of gives me, it doesn't. I wish it was like the way it was before, when you go up on your homepage and then there was all your subs were there, and you would
Hmm.
see, oh, I want to see Kyle Kulingoski because I like Kyle. Secular Talk. He's like one of my favorites. And then, but I don't like to listen to him all the time. I used to listen to TYT, but they've gone to the dark side. So I just ended my relationship with TYT. And
Is it because of Jank crossing over to the other side, or
no, actually, Cenk has it. It was that Anna's demeanor has moved into that angry right wing sort of a way, and whether it was because of circumstances or anything, but it's just like I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I still like uh, the other lesser people like the Damage Report and things like that. But so what do you think about? Oh, wait, I was going to add some more green into this, but things like that. But you know, I like who I like to listen to when it comes to being, and then I really like Heather Cox Richardson, but
she's
her,
a historian? Yeah,
yes,
she's yeah.
exactly, because I like that history, and then I go to listen to her, and you get hope because she has perspective of history, and that's why it's so important to know history, is so you can have perspective, because sometimes you go way off the bat into the fear, because whether it
Do
be
you like
religion.
Steve Schmidt?
Oh, absolutely love Steve Schmidt.
Yeah,
I like listening to those, see, because it's like it's Anthony Scaramucci and Steve Schmidt and that one Republican congressman. I like him as well. And what was Schlesinger or Andrew him? I don't like go seek him out on his channel. But but I like well, because I'm kind of a moderate, because
is
I've
it
been
Kinzinger?
yeah, him, because I've been on I mean, like half my life I voted Republican, so it's like um
Steve
you know
Schmidt's a bit of a fear monger, though.
Steve Schmidt. Oh yeah, he is.
He scares
And
me. Yeah, yeah.
but then so is Tom Hartman. Because fear
Tom Hartman
sells.
is also very good too. He's another fear monger.
Yeah,
I watch.
yeah. And my mom, I have to wake up because mom can. I've gotten her to get to use that TV remote control, and she can go to Amazon to go watch stuff, but she can't figure out how to get to YouTube. And so then my sleep gets interrupted every single day with having to turn on the YouTube so she can listen to Tom Hartman. But
I listen to him there too. Yeah.
but 5 years ago, what do you think so far with the dress? We have
I think it's
we have the under parts here, which is the under part of the frock, and I think it's like this. But then, nevertheless, it's like my frustrations with people who can't use technology, because mom never learned how to use a computer at all, and so it's all a big mystery. And so when she had a smartphone, it was like a complete waste of time because she couldn't figure it out. And that was even before her short-term memory issues. And so it's like I can't, and then all that kind of stuff. And so it's here it goes, getting that noise again. You're gonna have to. Yeah. Anyways, that are you? What kind of mic are you using, Dan?
just the one in the phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's go on. Because maybe you're a little too close to it. Because
Maybe.
it has a hot mic kind of a sound thing going on. And
How's this?
that's a little bit better for now. We may need to go and come back and finish this thing on another day. Would you be interested in doing that?
That I do that.
So like could we do this like Friday afternoon at the same time as today?
Yep.
Okay, so I will set that up, and we'll do a part 2 for Friday afternoon, starting at about 4 o'clock, because I think I can do that. And then, because I have my volunteer job on Saturday, so I'm not going to do anything too late on Friday night. And so my Friday night show will be you, and we'll finish this, and then we'll finish our conversation, and maybe yeah. How about that?
That would be awesome.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that because this has been a wonderful night, and yeah. So I wanted to thank everybody who's come to say hello in the chat, and I'm glad that you all had a wonderful conversation here. Make sure you go to Tarot Ask Backwards and go to his channel, and go sub and like into his channel, and you can get a reading, and make sure you donate to him because he's a really good reader. I can tell you that. I can attest to his accuracy, especially in going back into your past, and his accuracy in readings and so forth.
Oh,
And it's like so much so, Jeff, that I actually don't want to have any readings about my future or anything from you, because I do not want to hear anything. And so I'll come into your chat, and you want to say, "Oh, does Bill want a reading?" It's like, no, Bill doesn't want a reading. Bill doesn't
yeah, I
want a reading.
noticed that last night. Like, Bill doesn't want readings. No readings tonight.
No readings at all. Bill doesn't want readings, unless they're good news, and they're not going to be. So I'm not going to take any readings, and I'll just live my life in the dark, and I will.
Well, the other ones, some of them will lie. You should go to the ones that lie.
Well, they'll lie, and so anyway, we're going to finish this conversation on Friday. That's 4 o'clock, four something, maybe between 4 and 4:30 Pacific time, and that'll be between 7 and 7:30 Eastern time. And so I'm not sure exactly when we'll start, but I know that I have my things that I got to do on Friday, and I think I'll be done by 4. But I got to go start making dinner for my little dog and my mom before she gets a little bit upset with me, and I'm starting to get hungry too. And so, anyways, thank you, everyone. Thank you for liking and subscribing to this video, and I can't wait till the next time. And bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.